Traditional Keris Warangan makes the Keris blade poisonous. Do I agree with this statement? Keep watching to learn more. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to today's video. I hope you are all in good health and positive spirit always. If we are meeting for the first time, my name is Kari Johari, better known as Pak Jofe, the Keris Collector from Singapore, and you are watching the Keris Collector Show. If you are new to this channel, check out my intro video right here. In my earlier video, I shared the purpose of this series of videos which will be discussing in depth the broader aspect of traditional Keris Warangan. To recap, this series of videos will be exploring the process of manufacturing Keris Warangan solution the traditional way, experimenting the solution with Keris blades, and sharing the outcome of this experience with you. Essentially, over the years, many are confused what Warangan, or rather more appropriately described as the stage of Keris Merangi, is all about. Popular belief from the Javanese Keris diaspora influenced many to overlook a very important fact. Most have the understanding that the stage to Merangi a Keris blade is just for the purpose of bringing out the pamur patterns. We have become so obsessed with this aspect that we overlook the fact that other Keris cultures outside of the Javanese Keris diaspora have their own version of the Keris Merangi process. If you have been exposed to various Keris specimen examples from various regions, I am sure you will begin to identify the most immediate and noticeable denomination that will be screaming in your face. The metals are never the same uniform composition throughout. Hence, it is not logical to apply the common understanding of traditional Keris Warangan from the Javanese Keris diaspora to all Keris cultures throughout Nusantara. Again, fundamentally, there are always two areas of beliefs, if you will: the exoteric and the esoteric. Exoterically, the process that a Keris blade goes through, as how we loosely describe as Warangan, is in actual fact a process to provide a layer of protection in the hopes that it slows down the destructive cycle of corrosion through rusting. Throughout the various Keris cultures across Nusantara, each ethnic cultures have their own methods of doing this, and not necessarily by way of chemical reaction through the use of the Javanese method only. From an exoteric viewpoint, this process is seen as an essential step to prolong the usability and functionality of the blade as its priority. A blade is rendered structurally compromised once rust has set into the pores and made its way into the core of the blade. The blade essentially becomes weak and will be prone to cracking or worse, shattering upon impact. I hope you are beginning to see the rationale as to why our forefathers went to seemingly great lengths to ensure their Keris blades remain structurally sound for as long as possible. This is, of course, from the exoteric observation. On the other hand, from an esoteric point of view, the choice to have a Keris blade undergo the Merangi process is for two purposes. One is to allow the blade to reveal its production quality so that it could be interpreted in accordance to the supposed luck or charm that has been encoded into the blade by the empu. Secondly, as with most magical belief systems, the darkening of iron is said to increase its magical efficacy and is believed to further protect the blade from external magical influences, or so they say. With regards to formulation to stain the Keris blade, there are plenty in the Malay regions. The use of the Javanese method to stain the blade is not much put to practice. Instead, the process has been simplified with ingredients like sulfur, salt, and fermented rice paste. At this point in time, take note of the ingredients I mentioned. Replay these sections as many times as needed, you'll start to see a pattern emerging. In the northern peninsular Malay regions, another modified formulation is adopted. We still have sulfur and salt, but instead of fermented rice paste, fermented prawn paste or anchovy paste is used instead, added with gum vinegar and black mud gathered from the river banks. As you can see, what I am trying to illustrate here is to break the belief that Javanese Warangan is the only way to go. These are biased observations disseminated by Western Orientalists who still, up to this day, dare I say, barely grasp the understanding of what a Keris truly is and what it truly means to the natives of Nusantara. Teach the wise, mislead the foolish. That is the way of the Keris. My apologies, I digress. Now, back to the original question. Does allowing a Keris blade to undergo the Warangan or Merangi process ends up making the blade poisonous? So far, I have shared two formulations up to this point. Is there any toxic element to it? Say for sulfur, unless you are consuming it in large quantities, only then will it be detrimental to your health. Please do not even consider to try it, yeah? I will not be held responsible for any foolish experimentations from your part. Now, as you can see, there are more than one formulation. And what I would like to debunk is, at the mention of Warangan, it does not always have to be associated with what the West often associates it with, a solution containing arsenic. You need to understand the fundamentals of what the Warangan process actually does and what the intended purpose was for. From the Javanese diaspora of formulation, sulfur is replaced with a higher grade, oftentimes locally you refer to as batu Warangan, the talk of the town. Batu Warangan, bubuk Warangan. However, few, save for the learned ones, will be able to actually identify what batu Warangan actually is. Here's the kicker. Take out your pen and paper and jot this down, my friend. Batu Warangan is, as the name suggests, a naturally occurring mineral mined from the earth, and the name of this mineral is Rilga. Alchemists call this the ruby of sulfur, occurring naturally in the earth near geothermal fractures. Historically, Rilga has been exported from China and used extensively in traditional Chinese medicine. Now, some would argue it is arsenic. For those familiar with chemistry, there are various compounds of arsenic. Arsenic in its enriched and purified form does not occur naturally in nature. Humans refine them for specific purposes. Now, our ancestors back in the day had no need to purify or enrich the chemical compound to its highest concentration. Instead, by understanding nature, what withers away can also give rise to something beautiful, like that of the phoenix rising from the ashes. Combining Rilga with fermented lime juice and a heavy metal as a catalyst to kickstart the reaction, that is how the Javanese Warangan is born. So, if you are looking for Warangan, you need to start by knowing what it is you are looking for. So today, you now know. It is Rilga. It does have trace elements of arsenic sulfide as its chemical composition, but nowhere near potent enough to be regarded as highly toxic substance. Again, unless you are planning to consume this in large quantities, you have nothing to worry about. If you observe Javanese Merangi at work, they handle the blade and the solution with their bare hands. Now, if this solution was produced from enriched and purified arsenic compounds, you will not be able to do that. Concentrated arsenic compounds can be absorbed through the skin and cause necrosis, cellular tissue death. Not something you want if you are set out to be a career Merangi now, right? Just like cyanide, naturally occurring in apple seeds and apricot seeds, You need large quantities to enrich and purify before it can be deemed toxic and hazardous to work with. So, to answer a question I received recently from Arun Mat, where to buy the batu Warangan in Singapore? Look up Yellow Pages and try the chemical supply stores. Provide the necessary justifications as requested, and you can get yourself Rilga for your use in your own Warangan formulation. Now, I hope you all now have an idea of what Warangan and Merangi is all about by now. There are various substitutes for use on various types for materials found on Keris blades. It is not a one-size-fits-all solution. The best way to learn is to understudy from an experienced Merangi. For me, I have analyzed the formulation on paper, but never truly put into practice of producing my own Warangan solution until today. This makes it even more exciting to try out, experiment with, and share the outcomes with you in real time. One thing I am absolutely certain of is that allowing a Keris blade to undergo the Warangan process does not, let me repeat that again, does not make the Keris blade poisonous. That comes later, when the intent is ascertained for the quick or slow demise of your foe. So, before I conclude today's video, allow me to follow up and share with all of you the progress of the lime juice fermentation process. We are at day 10 of leaving the juice to sit undisturbed, and as you can see, the juice are getting clearer. The sediments are settling down at the bottom of the container. On the surface, naturally bacteria have formed on the floating pulp. We can choose to leave it for or like what I'm doing now, I am clearing them away. Naturally, it will still continue to grow later. At this point, if you are creative, you can even proceed to make a version of traditional tua, an alcoholic beverage with the addition of yeast and sugars. The process for that I will not go through here, as that is beyond what this channel is all about. But interesting to know, if you put some thought into it, how our forefathers already have an understanding of what can occur naturally given time and process. In short, they were able to make full use of what is available at their disposal on hand and apply it to practical use. How amazing is that? In summary, the length of the process to producing Warangan the traditional way is a time-consuming and painstakingly labor-intensive process. So patience is key. While waiting for this to fully sit for a period of 30 days, I have already prepared my Rilga mineral specimen and had it ground down into powder form. When the time comes, it will be ready to be mixed. Now, I encourage you not to cut corners and shorten the process by applying what you read in Keris forums and groups, for these suggestions cannot be backed with real-time evidence so far. What I am attempting to replicate are traditional formulation from experienced Merangis. This is the only way I can prove or disprove if the formulation and preparation techniques have been shared and understood correctly by me. This is not a concoction created by me. It is a dutiful step-by-step following of a traditional formulation. If the results turn out as expected, it would prove that the method works, and all you need is to have the ingredients prepared and steps followed. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope this video adds value to you and may you learn something new and useful from watching this. I look forward to reading your feedback in the comment section, so please feel free to leave me your comments and I will personally reply to you. If you like what you have watched today, please share with me your support by clicking the like, subscribe, and bell notification icon. So, until we meet in my next video, this is Kyrie Johari, better known as Pak Jofe, the Keris Collector from Singapore, snapping out. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.